Welcome to Mintel's Little Conversation podcast.
Welcome to Mintel's Little Conversation, where our experts bring you fresh ideas and new perspectives on how consumers eat, drink, shop, groom and think. I'm Edward Bergen, global food and drink analyst, all-round foodie, and I'm a massive hummus fanatic. This podcast has been brought back by popular demand, and it's time for Innovation Battle Part 2. Once again, I have our champions, our directors of innovation, Lynn Dornblazer and David Jago. Lynn and Dave, say hi.
Hi there.
Hello.
Awesome. So, once again, we're going to be testing Dave and Lynn's innovation knowledge. Our global food and drink analysts around the world have pitched their favourite launches from the past year. And what I want you both to do is give your honest opinions about each one. All I have given them, listeners, is a photograph of every single one that they'll look at as we go. So you'll hear a little bit of paper ruffling around. Otherwise, they've had no preparation whatsoever, and that's part of the fun. How are you both feeling?
Good.
Slightly nervous.
You said exactly the same words the last time we recorded this. It went smoothly, so it's all good. We're going to get a winner right at the end once we get there. So to start with, and to kick us off, we've got Kate Fleetstra with some munch for bedtime.
Hi, I'm Kate Fleetstra, and my product is Night Food Ice Cream from the US. It's a sleep-friendly ice cream for the millions of consumers who snack on ice cream before bed, and it's even backed by sleep experts. Night Food's view is that if people are going to eat ice cream before bed, it might as well have a sleep-friendly nutritional profile. They've minimized ingredients that could be disruptive to sleep, such as fat and sugar. And they've added magnesium to improve sleep and decrease insomnia, as well as chicory root fiber for a prebiotic effect. I love the colourful, quirky packaging on this nighttime snack that incorporates both indulgence and nutrition. Count me in.
Okay.
Well, I think, to my mind, we've talked a lot about night food over the last, year or so. And it certainly is hitting very much an of-the-moment trend. Products for nighttime, products for specific times of day. I certainly do have some questions in my head about the effectiveness or the substantiation of the claims that they make, but I can see where it could have consumer appeal.
No, certainly. I think it's there's clear demand for nighttime snacking, late night snacking. We know that. And I think ice cream can fit as well into that as many other things. A little bit of indulgence before bedtime. I think the balance of fats and calories and sugars and so on is probably appropriate. When I look at that at first glance, it doesn't actually look very different in formulation than a lot of other reduced calorie ice creams.
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from the Night Food mineral blend, which includes magnesium among other things. I think the plausibility of it is perhaps almost secondary. I think it's about the perception.
Mm-hmm. It's about branding.
It's the branding.
For the photo, it's a picture of little munchy monsters on the front of the pack, which is quite fun.
Yes, yeah, it looks great, and the idea of it is terrific.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea.
What would concern me is it's just the idea of it. Difficult to quantify if it's actually going to do what it says it's going to do. And I think in the long run, that's potentially a challenge.
Yeah, but maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Possibly.
I kind of have a feeling that if somebody ate a whole tub of nighttime ice cream, they probably will sleep okay. They might have a few weird dreams from the dairy, if that's the true thing, but they've probably eaten a whole tub of ice cream, so they might sleep quite well.
Yeah. You think so? They might get a bit happy at least.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
This one that we're looking at actually is the after dinner mint chip, and I quite like that as a kind. It's still fitting into that.
The flavour profile fits nicely.
Yep, absolutely.
I'd like to read more actually about the expert approved element of it, the sleep expert approved. That would be quite interesting, and see just how they're supporting that. It's just interesting to see the language that people use to get around things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really know this. What's magnesium meant to do?
Well, I think it's got a number of different functions. I mean, it helps in energy metabolism, but that's normally related to energy, I thought, rather than relaxation. I think it can cut both ways, though. We have seen relaxation products in the past.
Yeah, but I thought that was the same with zinc as well.
Yeah.
So, Yeah.
Not clear. I'm not clear,
No,
certainly.
not clear.
I've come across both magnesium and zinc in a relaxation context, but I don't know how they're supposed to work.
Is it during your sleep you metabolize foods better because you've got magnesium in? And
possibly. Yeah.
It sounds like you built a convincing marketing story all on your own there.
I thought I'd ask you while you're here. May as well ask you. So we have our nighttime ice cream. We're going to keep in the same theme around frozen things. And next we have Graziana Mendez with a very sustainable sorbet.
Hello everyone, my name is Graziana Mendez. I'm the Senior Insights Analyst for Latin America and I'm based in Sao Paulo. Today I want to talk about a brilliant product that I'm passionate about. It's called Maracuya. Yes, such a great name, right? And it's the passion fruit sorbet. It's naturally made, so no refined sugar, no preservatives. It's sustainable because it's made with the fruits rind, so no plastic involved. It's locally made. They have a partnership with local farmers. And it's convenient because it comes with a spoon attached that it's made of cardboard, same as the lid. And it's from an entrepreneur from Peru called Valeria Gucci. Thank you so much.
That's nice. That's a really nice concept.
It's a really nice concept. I mean, the whole idea of having something that's sold in the hollowed out rind of whatever the fruit is, and then it looks like from this photo that we have in front of it that it does have a lid or something that sits on top, with the spoon in between. To me, what stands out is we've seen this concept before, meaning orange sorbet, lemon sorbet in a hollowed out piece of fruit. But we haven't seen the hollowed out piece of fruit be the only package.
Yeah.
And that's what stands out here.
Yeah, absolutely. Stripping it back to the bare essentials.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was something I think I remember seeing in food service many years ago.
Yeah.
Probably not as a commercial product so much, retail product, but certainly in food service, I think the concept's quite familiar. Mm-hmm. If it can be scaled to any kind of reasonable extent, I think that's a really interesting proposition.
That's sort of my next question around how would you commercialise something like this? Because
it's going to be short shelf life because of the rind. Even if it's frozen, the rind is going to deteriorate at some point.
Yeah, and then how do you deal with the food safety issues, especially food safety regs in some countries that are so strict?
So you can see it working locally, can't you?
Yes.
Like very local production, local consumption.
Exactly.
Buy it, eat it, not really take it home, put it in the freezer, eat it a month later.
Yes.
I don't think it's that sort of application.
No, I don't think it could be. So in that sense, it's almost a interesting branded version of a street food.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps it's that.
Which is really kind of fun.
Which is still interesting in itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
It reminds me of having coconut ice cream in an Indian restaurant served in the coconut.
Yeah,
that's been done forever.
Yes.
It's part of the theatre.
Exactly, it's part of theatre. It sells the authenticity of the ingredients. It sells the fact that it's handmade, hand-prepared, artisan, local, fresh. All those great values come through really strongly. You don't need to tell the story because it's obvious from the presentation of the product.
There's something else about this that's kind of interesting. When you look at the one image, it mentions specifically, so it's not only the experience and the funness, it's about the naturalness and the health because it says fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. Mm-hmm. So it's pushing a health message as well, which to me, really sets it apart a little bit because that's not normally what you would see with something like this.
No, it's presumably because it's arguably less processed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, great. That was a nice one. I like that one. We are moving in more of a dairy direction with our next one. We've got Jenny Ziegler, and she's going to come at you with some yoghurt from a brand that you've probably heard of.
Hi, this is Jenny Ziegler, Global Food and Drink Analyst based in Chicago. My pick for innovative product is Chobani Less Sugar Greek Yogurt. In this era of sugar consciousness, this is a line that simply contains less sugar, no additional sweeteners. In the case of my favorite flavor, Gili Cherry, it contains 8 grams of sugar versus 15 grams of sugar in the same size container of a standard black cherry Chobani. As you can tell from Gili Cherry, all the flavors also have a specific geographic origin or variety, and every flavor that I've tried has been really vibrant and fresh. So to me, this is really a relatively rare, lower sugar version that doesn't taste like a trade-off or a step down.
Okay, Chobani.
Well, that's Jenny's comment about it not being a trade-off or a step down. That's the real message here, I think, and the real potential benefit of any product like this. Because if you can do less sugar and still have it taste good.
Yeah, and that surely is what Chobani and all other major yogurt players, particularly in the US market, need to be pushing really hard.
Oh, of course.
Is making less sugar acceptable.
Yes.
If you can get consumers to trade off, because they think there's a trade-off. Less sugar means less taste, less favourable taste, less appealing taste.
Yep.
If you can convince them of that, and Chobani's probably a brand that can, then you'll get the trial purchase you need to probably make it work.
Yes.
Because I would imagine it does taste really pretty good.
I would think
They're
it
not
does.
Gonna get it wrong.
Yeah. I do have to say, though, that I am guessing that Chobani is going to have to do a lot of consumer education. As I recall, I don't recall having looked at this specific flavor, but I had looked at the less sugar Greek yogurts from Chobani a few months ago using our purchase intelligence data, and purchase intent was lower than other Chobani Greek yogurts, which is exactly what you would expect, with the comments being about taste. So quite often what's communicated on pack doesn't always match up with what the experience actually is. And so that's going to be the real key, I think, for Chobani to get consumers to try this one.
In Europe, yogurt products, has low sugar not been around for a long time? Or zero sugar? We've seen
it's more established already in the European market. I mean, I look at this, and from a European perspective, I think, well, there's still quite a lot of ingredients in there, and there's still relatively large amount of sugar in there. But that's a difference to the market.
That's right. Yes.
I mean, you've got to compare this with the US yogurt market, and it's a significant change.
Yes. And you look at the ingredients on this Greek yogurt, and while it might be very different from Greek-style yogurts that you would see in Europe, it's very similar to the other Greek yogurts that you see in the U.S. market with all of those ingredients, unless you're talking about Fayet or very specifically the Greek yogurts that come from Trader Joe's. So in that sense, it isn't that different. And Dave, to your point, the sugar levels on yogurt in the U.S. are shockingly high.
Yeah, they've been coming down in Europe, typically across most major brands, and most major brands have been playing with reduced sugar, less sugar, no added sugar, even variants. Some of those use high-intensity sweeteners, many of them don't. And those tend to be the ones that focus on very simple recipes, 3 ingredients, 5 ingredients, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a different part of the market.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So simple, less sugar, might work for the US market. So we're going to move on to a different category now. And we've got Alex Beckett with an energy drink.
Hello, my name's Alex Beckett and I'm a global food and drink analyst, and my nomination for this innovation battle is Limitless Watermelon Lightly Caffeinated Sparkling Water. It's less caffeinated than regular energy drinks. It's essentially a flavoured sparkling water with 35 milligrams of caffeine compared with 80 milligrams for fully loaded regular energy drinks like Red Bull. Now this is important because our data shows that people want an energy hit, but a kind of controlled, lesser, more controlled energy hit, rather than the full blown explosion of that 80 milligrams. So they can drink it maybe in the afternoon more without it affecting their sleep, something which Generation Z is really worried about. Anyway, this is my nomination. I think it's going to do well. They've just been bought by Dr. Pepper as well, so expect to see them in a store near you soon. Thanks a lot.
This whole near waters market, and if you want to call that sparkling enhanced waters market, has just been exploding. I know Alex is really keen on a lot of introductions in this market. There's some really interesting stuff. I think the biggest challenge for anybody playing in this space is the sheer proliferation of offer. Because it's become so blurred and so competitive in such a short space of time that for any brand to really make an impact has become 3 times, 5 times harder than it was a couple of years ago.
Exactly. I think one of the positives here with this one is that it's very clear about the amount of caffeine. That it says on front of pack 35 milligrams of caffeine. To me, that feels like they're taking a page from all the CBD drinks that we see, being very upfront by it with exactly how much CBD is in there, so that you would know then that you're getting just a little bit of a boost and not a big boost, and certainly not the boost that you would get from the Starbucks triple shot, which is 225 milligrams of caffeine.
So that's actually not too much when you see it.
No, and to me that seems like that might be one of the challenges here, actually, because you want a boost, but you don't want an energy drink. But if you drink energy drinks, you're used to having your Red Bull or whatever, and about 20 minutes later you feel it. Are you going to actually feel it? Will you think that there's a benefit here? And that's one of the things that I find a little bit challenging. And also, 35 milligrams, is that enough to even make a dent in...
I don't know. I guess it depends on the consumer. I mean, if the target market is people that perhaps typically avoid caffeinated drinks because they contain too much caffeine, then it probably works just fine.
Yeah.
Or perhaps people who have already begun to wean themselves off caffeinated drinks. I think, if you're trying to get...
I don't know any of those people, do you?
No, personally, no, I don't. But if you're trying to get it to appeal to energy drink users, then I think it's probably too low.
Yes.
I don't know. I would question how much does the US consumer know about caffeine content? I mean, in the UK, I don't think many consumers in most European markets would know what 35 milligrams meant. Would the US consumer get that?
I don't know as if consumers would know how much that much means, but they might understand that relative to others that are higher.
Yeah.
So knowing the Red Bull, what did Alex say? It was 80 or whatever.
Something like that.
Consumers, especially if you're an energy drink drinker, you would know that.
Yeah,
you would have an idea of that. I mentioned the Starbucks triple shot partly because it says on front of pack 225. So, but you would have something to compare to, even if you didn't know 35 milligrams does this for me. You would know that it would be less than half. But
how does it compare with the other players in the healthy energy drink market? Well, the reason I'm looking at is the listeners can't see the photo, but they're very big on 0 sugar, 0 artificial ingredients, 0 calories as the main claims at the bottom of the pack. And does it then sit in a similar place to other energy drinks that are playing in that natural space?
To me, this doesn't feel like it's an energy drink. It feels like it's a functional water.
Yeah,
right.
So it would be with the CBD waters and vitamin water and sparkling ice, which doesn't have much in terms of functional benefit, but is sparkling and flavored and all of that. And even given that this is watermelon, it feels like it's an alternative to bubbly and LaCroix and all of that, which totally makes sense then why Keurig Dr. Pepper bought it.
Yeah, mainstream.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. To me, it almost feels like the lightly caffeinated message is secondary.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it says it fairly big, but it's more the no sugar, no artificial ingredients, no calories, and then the flavor profile.
Fruity flavour.
Yep.
It's really clean pack as well. The design is quite clean and white. It's really cool.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to move on. Moving to a completely different category and to a completely new region this time. We've got Jolene Ng, who's based out in Singapore. And she's got a nice bit of rice.
Hello, my name is Shirley Tan, Senior Global Food and Drinks Analyst based in Singapore. My pick is rye rice from Better Food and is made in the USA. Rice is naturally plant-based, and now we see an increased trend in vegetable rice innovations such as cauliflower or broccoli rice. What's right with rye rice is a re-engineering of rice with 4 ingredients including lentils, chickpeas, peas for optimal protein and fiber level, and finally rice to make sure it tastes like rice, similar to how plant-based meat tastes like actual meat itself. An added advantage with rye rice would be its short ingredient list and texture consistency to mimic white rice.
So I have to apologise to David because before we did this podcast, I promised David there wouldn't be a chickpea anywhere near this one, and then I realised this yesterday and it snuck in.
You were always going to sneak in a chickpea somewhere, Ed. Not that I object to chickpeas, but just your obsession with them.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, it's an interesting one. I mean, we've seen so many products made out of vegetables, cauliflower rice and a million other things like it. It's a nice extension of it, and I can see it could work really well with a certain demographic audience who are looking for something that's a bit like rice that's probably got a more interesting flavour profile and a better nutritional profile.
Yeah, I think one thing that needs to be explained for the people who can't see this or don't know it, and you and I had some experience with this. I mean, we've actually
tried this Right Rice product.
We haven't tried it in that we didn't prepare it, but we had a real good look at it and opened it up and everything. This is, so for those of you listening, Right Rice is a product that looks like rice that needs to be cooked. So this isn't a ready-to-eat product or a frozen product like cauliflower rice would be. So it's got that very specific look, but and it's in a flexible stand-up pouch. But what's so fascinating, when you actually get it out of the package and you look at it, it looks like grains of rice, but those grains are manufactured. So it isn't an actual grain of rice, but it looks like a grain of rice, which to me is really interesting.
How would consumers feel about the fact that they've been engineered that way and manufactured that way?
Well, that would be a question.
Yeah. I'm not sure that would be a big challenge. I think
possibly not.
Given the shortness of the ingredient list and what the ingredients are, I don't think people would necessarily object to that. I don't think that's a problem. I think the fact that it looks like rice is actually plays to its advantage. I think it really encourages you to use it in the right way.
It's really accessible.
Yeah, it's accessible. You're probably going to know how to cook it and serve it. It's going to have the right consistency to go with the sauces and things you normally use rice with.
Yep.
You haven't got to think very hard about it. It's just a straight substitute.
The one thing I would wonder is I've forgotten what the price is on this.
Yeah.
Consumers focusing on more vegetables and all of that seem to be a bit more willing to step up a bit in terms of price. Mm-hmm. But given how low cost really quite a big bag of white rice is, this is going to be such a substantial premium.
Yeah.
So that, I think, could potentially be a barrier. But yeah, I mean, the concept itself is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah,
what I really like is on the back, they do. They've got a little table on the back of pack that says Right Rice on one side and white rice on the other.
Yes.
Yeah. But then they list protein, fibre, net carbs, showing that right rice is basically more healthier, according to that list.
Yeah, that's clever. Be interested to see what that compared to whole grain rice actually as well, but they don't do that.
Oh, they want to make it look good.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
But that's fair enough. I mean, that's a bit of marketing.
Yep.
But no, I think it's a really interesting product. It looks really good, actually.
They don't talk about the sustainability issues around this, because there's a lot of stories at the moment on the internet or internet media around rice being questionable about its sustainability, how much water it uses versus certain other pulses, and there's definitely an opportunity to shout about these other pulses and ingredients that maybe are more.
There probably is. I think pretty a lot of companies are quite wary of doing that in case they get caught out.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 4 ingredients in this product. And
all they need to do is catch one of them out.
Yeah, if one of them gets caught out, you're going to kill the story. So be careful. I think it's got enough else going for it.
Yeah, there's enough of a story otherwise.
And everything else,
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay. And to finish off, we're going to one of your favourite categories. Is this rude to say? Because we've got some booze here, some alcohol here. So I'm saying it's one of your favourite categories. Normally, you both light up and you complain that you haven't got a chance to try it while we're sitting here. So we've got Martin Pasco, who's doing this for the first time. So this is really cool. He's joining us to do a recording, and he has a gin to talk about.
So I'm Martin Pascal, and I'm a global food and drink analyst here in Mintel, London, UK. And the product I've chosen for being innovative in my category is an Italian gin called Malfi Gin, which is owned by Pernod Ricard. And the reasons that I've chosen it are its amazing provenance ingredient story, which most big brands can't tell, which really dials up quality and exoticism. It's made with botanicals, fruit botanicals, so there's lemons, but they're not just any lemons, they're from the Amalfi Coast, and it's also got Sicilian blood orange and grapefruit. It really dials up the sophistication of the Italian lifestyle whilst also telling a sustainability story, because there's minimal movement for these ingredients between where they're grown and where it's produced. Over and out.
I will say, Ed, you're absolutely right. We do need a bottle of this in front of us, but it is a bit early for us to actually do that. With both of us being fans of gin. The provenance story here is fabulous.
Great.
Really
I've actually talked about this one quite a lot in various projects and things I've been working on. Not just alcoholic drinks projects, but talking about the marketing language behind it, the provenance story. The to me, slight surprise about the whole concept of an Italian gin and how they really make the story work. I think that's really interesting. It's a lovely bit of textbook provenance marketing. We've got a bit of text in front of us with a picture of it that talks about, the guys that created the distillery and, how they were at the top of the Alpine mountains and they were inspired by the wild juniper in the area and the highest spring source in the Italian Alps and so on. It's beautiful and it actually looks really attractive. It's very well done. The colours, the simplicity of the design is terrific.
How new is it? This one, quite new. This is last year.
I've only discovered it relatively recently, but I don't know when it actually came to market.
My only challenge around gin is that have we hit a flooded market for gin, and therefore, wow, however wonderful it might be, there's a lot of quite funky, botanical, exciting gins out there.
I think that might depend a little bit on what country you're talking about, though.
Okay.
UK's become really saturated.
Yes, and I don't think the US has yet.
Probably not.
And I think there are plenty of other parts of the world that haven't yet as well. And if it's surprising to you that this is gin from Italy, then I would think that may mean that there's a lot of opportunity there as well.
Yeah, I think to me it ties into lifestyle provenance in a way that lots of other gins don't. Lots of gins talk about the origin of the ingredients. Major brands have been doing that forever. These spices and ingredients from different parts of the world and so on. That's a very familiar story. But I think to link that to an Italian lifestyle message, I think is really interesting. And if you look at any of the promotions and advertising, you look at the website, it's all about being by the seaside in Italy in the summer, and it's all about the Italian lifestyle.
Right.
I can't actually recall now the brand's motto, but it's basically something about sitting around in the sun and doing nothing, which is lovely while sipping a Amalfi gin. It's worse than that effect.
Well, that's pretty much perfect.
Yeah,
I think.
And I think that's clever because it is. Yes, it is a saturated market, but they found a point of difference. That's not just about the origin of the ingredients; it's about the lifestyle you can attach to that.
Yep.
Okay, we've got quite a good selection for you to choose from. So, I think last year I asked you had a pick a winner that you both really loved, but maybe is this idea of picking one that you think actually would really sell as well. So it's almost picking two, and if it comes to the one winner for both, then great, that's okay. But I think it just means you get to chat about a couple of them.
Yep. I think I know. I think I know.
After you then.
All right. Well, I think, to my mind, the one that has the chance to do really well in the marketplace is the Chobani with less sugar. It's, out of this group, it's kind of the easy choice because it's the biggest brand. It's the best well-known in its market, and it is so on trend in such a big way. But I think all of those things combined, especially with the fact that it's Chobani and how well-known Chobani is, to me that feels like that's the one that has the chance for the biggest success. What do you think?
I'd go along with that. I'd say commercially, that's the one most likely to succeed.
Yeah.
I would flag up as a potential second, actually, the Right Rice product.
Really?
Because it's not a refrigerated or frozen product. It's ambient storage, it's flexible, versatile, relatively accessible probably. And I think that whole area is still growing really quite fast. Whether that brand is absolutely the right one, I don't know. But I think there's a lot more activity in that space around carbs made from vegetables. So I'd give that one a second call out.
It nicely fits into, we've got a big trend called high-tech harvest this year. And the idea that certain ingredients, we're going to need them more to save the world as a kind of long term, and whether you have to start thinking about re-engineering a very staple product to make it fit a future. That product sort of speaks quite nicely.
It could do.
I quite like that.
Yep.
Have you got a favourite that you really... Is there another one that you're saying which one sells, but any that you really loved the story, or you're sitting with
Yeah, and I think Dave and I are going to say exactly the same one, aren't we?
Malfi Gin.
Yeah.
Malfi Gin. But again, actually, my second call out actually would be the night food ice cream.
Oh,
because I love the story of it, and I think actually it doesn't matter whether it works or not. I think it's just a really nice story and a nice presentation of an idea. And I think we've talked so much about nighttime food, and no one's really made it work yet, I don't think. I'm not sure that brand will either, but I think it's a lovely story and it's a nice way of trying it.
I'll disagree with you on that one, but we definitely agree on the Malfi Gin.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
sure.
Just go and
We've
buy a
got some
bottle now.
disagreement, which is nice. So yeah, we're going to need to get some Malfi Gin out. Martin will be very pleased. So a bit of love for Malfi Gin and a bit of a potential commercial success for Chobani, with maybe some sustainable, world-saving, accessible white rice as well in the mix. Thank you very much. Again, it's been really exciting. Hopefully we'll bring us back for next year for another round of this. Maybe we do again something different, or if the format works and people like it, then brilliant. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, great fun.
Of course.
And you always enjoy these things. So to our listeners, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe. We're now into our second series. So please subscribe again, rate, review us. We're on all the everywhere where you can get a podcast, all the platforms. So you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and so on. If you want to know more about us, about Mintel, check out our social media platforms. We're on LinkedIn and Instagram and so on. And you can look at our website, mintel.com. Otherwise, catch us next time for another round of Mintel's Little Conversation. Thank you very much.